And he was very, very nasty. I've never heard a person get up and speak on an evening like this and be so nasty, but he's got a right to be nasty. He hasn't won anything, and he's not going to win very much. But I do congratulate Ted, because I know how hard Ted worked on Texas, and that's a big get. Now, I also did very well in Texas. I came in second. And one of the things my son Eric told me, which I didn't even realize, is that not only did I win most of the states, and some are coming in, and I'm expected to win them, but I came in second. I came in no worse than second. So it wasn't like I won and then I disappeared. The worst I had was a second. So I'm very, very honored by the turnout. Okay? Yes, go ahead.
Washington today, Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, and Majority Leader Mitch McConnell felt it necessary to suggest that you had not been clear enough, you've been equivocal about the role of hate groups or the KKK
Right.
play in relationship either to your movement or your overall orientation to politics.
Right.
Wrong.
Oh, they're totally wrong. Look, I disavowed when in fact, Chris is my number one. When Chris gave me the honor of joining the campaign, he called me, said, Donald, what you've got is a movement. We spoke today in Kentucky. You've never seen a crowd like that. That had to be 20,000 people inside this massive convention center, and it was incredible. And every place we're speaking, if we have 10,000 people, it's like a small group. We had 35,000 people the other day in Alabama. And when Chris called, he said, this is a movement. This is something like I've never seen. And in all fairness to the press, a lot of the press have said the same thing. They've never seen what's happening right now. They've never seen anything like it. And I'm just honored by it. Now, when Chris joined, we had a news conference, and they asked me the exact same question. I said, I disavow. Now, right after the program that we're talking about, and I thought it was clear, but, you know, we're talking about groups. I do have to know the name of the group, because who knows? I mean, they have to give me the name of the group. But right after, when I reviewed it, I put out a tweet and I put out on Facebook that I totally disavow. Now, everybody knew I did that, but the press refused to look at that. It was right after. And I disavowed then. I disavowed today on ABC with George Stephanopoulos. I disavowed again. I mean, how many times are you supposed to disavow? But I disavow. And hopefully it's the final time I have to do it. But if you look at Facebook and if you look at Twitter, right after the show, I put out a statement because I want everybody to be sure. Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Trump, you call yourself a negotiator, a deal maker. Is this campaign just the start of a negotiation for you, taking extreme positions in order to move towards the middle?
No, it's not. But there is going to always be some negotiation. And it's going to be a good negotiation, not a bad negotiation. It's going to be a negotiation where we'll start at certain levels, and hopefully I will make a great deal and lots of great deals for the American people. So, you know, look, you can't go around just signing our little notices that the president signs all the time, executive orders. He signed executive order, executive order. It's almost like, I don't even know, does he ever go and deal with Congress anymore? Does he ever speak to the Senate? Does he ever speak with congressmen and get them into a room and get things done? You know, a good example of this, in all fairness, is something that is very, very important to me. Corporate inversion. Carl Icahn, who's a friend of mine who endorsed me, great businessman. It bothers him so much. He calls me about it all the time, where we're losing companies. And we're losing for two reasons. We're losing for a lot of reasons, but the taxes are too high. We're the highest tax nation in the world. And very importantly, they have trillions, for companies, trillions of dollars outside of this country. The Democrats agree it should be brought back in. The Republicans agree it should be brought back in. Everybody agrees it should be brought back in. I could sit in a room, or the Oval Office, for a period of literally a half hour. And I really believe I could get everybody, every single, you know, it's one thing, they don't agree on health care, or they don't agree on Common Core, or they don't agree on other things, and they'll fight. Here's something, almost everybody agrees. These trillions and trillions of dollars should be brought into the country. The president can't make a deal. The reason is he doesn't know how to make a deal, probably doesn't work at it, probably doesn't care, but you're talking about tremendous amounts of money. So when you have something that everybody wants and you can't make a deal, there's something going on that's really wrong. And what it means is you have the wrong leader. Yes? Look, we are going to have a wall, I can tell you. We are going to have a wall. I watched the ex-president of Mexico, the arrogance of this man. And I get along great with the Hispanics. You saw in Nevada, I won in the poll, the Hispanic vote. I have thousands of people that work for me right now that are Hispanic. I've had thousands and thousands over my lifetime. These are great people. The Mexican leaders are too smart for our leaders. And you saw it. Vicente Fox, first of all, he used a word that you should never have. If I ever used that word, you folks would have never, ever, ever let me get away with it. Nobody even talked about the word he used, and this is the ultimate word. But he was angry at the concept of somebody saying that they were going to pay for the wall. Mexico's going to pay for the wall. We have a trade deficit with Mexico of $58 billion a year. $58 billion. The wall is going to cost $10 billion. It's so easy. I've had these guys that I'm on the stage with come, you don't really mean Mexico's going to pay for the wall. As sure as you're standing there, 100% Mexico's going to pay. 100%. And the reason is I'm a businessman. I know how to do this. Politicians are all talk, no action. It's not going to, except for Chris Christie, of course. It's not, look, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen with these people. So when you think of it, and then they say, you'll never be able to build a wall. Well, it's 2,000 miles, but we really need 1,000 miles. The Great Wall of China, built 2,000 years ago, is 13,000 miles, folks. And they didn't have Caterpillar tractors, because I only want to use Caterpillar if you want to know the truth. Or John Deere. I buy a lot of equipment from John Deere. I love John Deere too. But they didn't have tractors. They didn't have cranes. They didn't have excavation equipment. The wall is 13,000 miles long. We need 1,000 miles. And we have all of the materials. We can do that so beautifully. And this is going to be a serious wall. This is going to be a high wall. This is going to be a very serious wall. We're going to stop drugs from coming into New Hampshire. You know, when I won New Hampshire, those people were so incredible to me. And when you go, you wouldn't believe it because it's so bucolic, so beautiful. You look at the fields and you look at everything. It's so beautiful. And yet you go to a meeting in New Hampshire, their number one problem is heroin. The heroin is pouring in. And they have so many of their young people and other people addicted. And I told them, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop it. We're going to have a strong border. And I mean strong. And by the way, speaking of people are going to come in. And they're going to come into this country. But they're going to come in legally. Okay? I have a lot of respect for Rick Scott. I don't know about his endorsement, but he's a friend of mine. I have a lot of respect for Rick Scott. Yeah. What? Got to find out what's going on. We've got a big problem. We have a big, big problem. I'll tell it like it is. We have a big, big problem. We got to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. Radical Islamic terrorism, big, big problem. Not only for us. You take a look at Germany. You take a look at Sweden. You take a look at Brussels. You look at some of these places, it's like a disaster. And we're not going to allow people to come into our country who we have no idea who they are. We have no idea where they come from. They have no paperwork. They're young and they're strong. You look at that migration line. They're young, they're strong, they're powerful. And you say, why aren't they back fighting for their country? Now, with all of that being said, I feel strongly. I have a bigger heart than anybody. We're going to build a safe zone. It's going to be in Syria. And I'm going to get the Gulf states who have more money than anybody. We got to loosen up their wallets a little bit. We're going to get, but they're not accepting people. We're going to get, wait. We're going to get the Gulf states to pay for it because they should. Okay. You heard what I said. I gave you a good answer. You heard what I said. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. Trump, if you are indeed the nominee versus Hillary Clinton in the fall, what are you going to do to bring back some of these groups that have been by your campaign so far, such as Muslims?
Yeah, we're going to bring them back. We're going to bring them back. Look, I'm telling you, you know how I'm going to bring them back? First of all, we're going to do great with the African Americans. And you see that in the polls, where I had one poll where I'm 25%. And one of the commentators, who I think is standing right in the back of the room in the corner, said, you know, if Donald Trump gets 25% of the African American vote, this election is over. You watch. And the reason I'm getting that, and I'm going to do great with the Hispanics, I'm going to do great with virtually every group. The reason is I'm going to bring jobs back. I'm going to get Apple to start making their computers and their iPhones on our land, not in China. How does it help us when they make it in China? So I'm going to create jobs. Okay? Go ahead.
If Marco Rubio cannot win Florida, is it time for him to get out? And do you plan to spend the $25 million that you say he plans?
Well, look, I always liked Marco until about a week ago when he decided to go hostile. He decided to become Don Rickles, okay? But Don Rickles has a lot more talent. And honestly, I did. I always liked him, but he became, somebody told him, you're losing very badly. The only way you can possibly win, take the Hail Mary, they called it a Hail Mary, the folks in the back, and go hostile. It's hurt him. In fact, one of the newscasts tonight said he went down 15 or 20%. It's really hurt him. But look, I'm not going to tell him what to do. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. You have to run. He had a bad night. According to CNN, Fox, I watched their broadcast. They say the loser of the night was Marco Rubio. And it's true. He didn't win anything. He hasn't won. I mean, at least you can say that Ted has won something. And, Marco has not won. You got to be able to win. You can't talk. These politicians, all talk, no action. You got to be able to win something. He hasn't won anything. And he actually hasn't come very close. So we'll see what happens. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Nature's question earlier was about working with Congress. You criticized President Obama for not working with Congress, but you dismissed the criticism from Speaker Ryan and from Senate Majority Leader McConnell, who say that you were equivocating about this issue with these hate groups.
I wasn't equivocating. Let's not ask it again. How many times do I say, listen, who are you, by the way? Who are you with? Okay, very good. Good job. Look, I don't want to waste a lot of time. I've disavowed. Okay, I'm going to get along great with Congress, okay? Paul Ryan, I don't know him well, but I'm sure I'm going to get along great with him. And if I don't, he's going to have to pay a big price, okay? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, on the right. Go ahead. Yes.
You say a lot about what you're going to do for the United States, but what kind of president will you be for the world?
I'm going to be a good president for the world, but we have a country that's in big trouble. Our infrastructure is going to hell. Our roads, our highways, our schools, our hospitals, our airports. I go throughout the world. I mean, you go to Qatar, you go to, who some people say Qatar, but you go to Qatar, you go to so many places. You go to different places in China, different places in Asia, different places in the Middle East. You look at some of the airports they have. You look at the roadways they have. You look at the transportation systems they have and the trains they have. We're like a third world country. So I'm going to be very good for the world. I'm going to get along with the world. You're going to be very proud of me. Even you will be very proud of me as a president. But we have to rebuild our country. Our country is going to hell, and people don't understand that. And Hillary Clinton doesn't have a clue. She can't do that. She's talking about, one of the things that has really bothered me, I think one of the reasons I have such great support, is that people, you take a look, people in the middle income groups are making less money today, less money than they made 12 years ago. And in her speech, she just said, they're making less money. Well, she's been there with Obama for a long period of time. Why hasn't she done anything about it? Practically everything that she was complaining about, she's picked up what I say. The difference is she's been there for a long period of time. Why haven't they done anything about it? Then you look at her record as Secretary of State. It's abysmal. You look at what's going on with Syria. You look at what's going on with everything. It's a disaster. So we're going to have an interesting period of time. I don't know that she's going to be allowed to run. What she did is a criminal act. If she's allowed to run, I would be very, very surprised. But if she's allowed to run, honestly, it'll be a sad day for this country. Because what she did was wrong. And what she did, let me just tell you, what she did was wrong. And other people have done far less than her, and they paid a very, very big price. Okay, one or two more questions. Yeah, go ahead, Jeremy.
You talked about how you plan to deport all of the undocumented immigrants living in this country. And yesterday you said that everything is negotiable, that your immigration plan is potentially negotiable.
Where did I say that? Where did I say it, Jeremy?